a lot of parents, a lot of our clients, parents going, man, I just wish I'd known about this earlier. Really wish I had.
Welcome back to the Trials Podcast. We're continuing our conversation with Bill Brose, so please stay tuned. He's got a lot of excellent information to share today. Well, Bill, can you give us an overview? I know there are two separate cases. You have the social media addiction cases and the video game addiction cases. What are the what are the takeaways here? What are we looking for?
Excellent. Yeah. And of course, we're looking for children in social media that have been on a platform, been watching social media, usually several hours a day for a number of months, and then are having changes to behavior. Primarily, you see changes in behavior. It could be, again, they're much more depressed. They're much more anxious. They are isolated. They are not doing well in school. A lot of these children have, been approached. The families have been approached by school counselors. They may have a special education plan put in place. A lot of these children we're looking at have gone to their physician and have been referred to therapists to help them deal with issues related to the addictive type of behavior. Unfortunately, a lot of them are having to have extended therapy and medications to help with some of the aspects. We also have seen in some children a change to eating behaviors, eating disorders. It could be children are eating a lot more, and we've seen it the opposite. Children are eating a lot less. So, very obesity or anorexia conditions associated, with overexposure to these platforms. Video gaming is very, very similar. Again, we're looking for children that used gaming for several hours a day for an extended period of time. Unfortunately, the more we look at this, we see that they're, not just playing 1 or 2 hours a day. It's consuming their time. It's consuming their time that they would usually be outside playing with friends. Friends they used to have, they may not have, or they may have different friends that are on these gaming platforms as well. Like the social media, it's impacting them at school. We see a lot of children in high school age dropping out of school, because they're being consumed by these addictions. So again, the behavioral things we see with the video gaming is very similar to the social media. Now, I will say this, the American Psychological Association has actually identified a condition called video gaming addiction or internet gaming disorder, and they have certain characteristics. You can go down a checklist and sort of check off the items that you might see behaviorally in a child that's addicted to video games. And I mentioned some of them, but just changing attitudes around the house. What used to be a pleasant, easy to deal with child in some situations is now a very obsessive and very angry, and easily set off, if you will. So I think there's a lot of background studies still going on related to both these, and I think we're going to see a lot more information coming out in the coming months and years.
Well, what is the next phase of the litigation? What's the next step in the litigation that's on the horizon?
Yeah,
right now?
Good question. And I'll start with social media again because it's been in existence longer as far as litigation. When cases are centralized, the parties pick out what's called bellwether or initial cases to move along to trial. And that has happened now in social media. Our firm is lucky to have a case. One of our cases has been picked in the bellwether the bellwether process, and that's just a legal term for initial cases. Usually, in a case that's consolidated like this, they'll try some cases, and hopefully, those cases that they try are representative, if you will, of the universe of cases, of the thousands of cases that might be out there, and they might sort of set the stage for a settlement down the road. Again, it's not a class action. Each case stands on its own feet. So, one child, no child is the same as everybody in this litigation. They may have similar conditions and all, but ultimately, their injuries are different and distinct. So, the cases are moving along. Those selected cases, if you will, are moving along with the first trials scheduled late this year and early next year. So, and I know that seems like a long ways off, but this case is moving along at a pretty good clip. So we will, we'll see what happens in that litigation. You know, Families ask me, well, we really don't want to have to go to trial with our case, and I explain to them there's a bunch of cases out there already, and the bellwether or case selection process in social media has moved to the point where it would be rare that we would have to put you or your child through actual litigation, the full blown litigation. And I understand that it's very, very, these are confidential and these are very delicate situations for the families, for the parents and the children. And I know that a lot of families don't want to have to, put their children through that. Video gaming, on the other hand, is not as far along yet. Okay. They have not selected cases. Video gaming has not been centralized because there are so many different makers of these games, a lot of different companies and a lot of different games and a lot of different types of games. I do believe it will be consolidated at some point, but I just don't think we're to that point yet.
Bill, in getting closer to the end here, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to let everyone know?
No, I think we've covered a lot of territory here, and a lot of parents, a lot of our clients, parents going, man, I just wish I'd known about this earlier. Really wish I had. And again, we mentioned this a couple of times. It's not your fault. You didn't know. It's hard, very, very difficult to pull your child away from either social media or video gaming because they are addicted. It's an addiction. It's that I'm not comparing this to drugs, but it is it's addictive behavior in these children, and it has to be changed. And it's just a very tedious process. A lot of people again ask me, is there a lot that we have to do? You're going to have to be involved in the case, just like any case, but it won't be a whole lot. It's a case about medical conditions, so we do have to get medical records of your child. Those are held in confidence. A lot of people ask. They're held in confidence here in our firm, and they're held in confidence if we have to share them with the defendants. We all have a duty to do that, but it is about medical conditions. So there is that aspect of it. You have to help us with some discovery or completing fact sheets, but we help you in that process. So. And again, no, it's a long battle. It's not easy. We're going up against, and when I say we, firms all over the country are going up against big, powerful entities, and it takes a lot of time and resources.
Well, Bill, as always, we certainly appreciate your friendship, your support, what you do for us, our clients, and we look forward to continuing to work with you in the future.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and Aaron's been very good to work with us over the years. He has some great clients, and we're happy to talk with him and his clients whenever we're able to put that together. A lot of times we don't get to see all of our clients because again, we work with clients in all 50 states, and we have over the years. So I'm happy when clients come in here to see us and we can sit down face to face. Again, we try to do whatever we can to communicate with our clients, and I know our town halls are one step in the right direction on that. And as technology continues to develop, I'm hopeful that we'll have other things that ways that we can get face to face with our clients and referring lawyers as well.
Bill, I know you had mentioned to me that your very first mass tort case was the diet drug fen-phen. And so I was thinking it's almost like a kind of a full circle type thing with the litigation with the diet drugs now.
You're right. It is. It's pretty amazing how things happen with these pharmaceutical companies and what they knew and didn't know. And this is a little bit different, but it's another. The U.S., like many countries, we face an epidemic of obesity. Let's just be honest. I think I struggle with it myself. And whenever there's an opportunity, I guess, for a company to put something out there that might help in that face that epidemic, I think it's something they do. And what we've seen is the development of a class of drugs, and we mentioned Ozempic. That's probably the most known one. But there's Ozempic, there's Wegovy, there's Mounjaro, there's Trulicity. These are medications put out by several companies that they balance. They help people with a pre-diabetic condition, and oftentimes pre-diabetes starts with being overweight. So these drugs have been touted and marketed as amazing things to help you lose weight. And I think I know people that have used them. Some that are pre-diabetic and some that just want to, lose a number of pounds and feel better. And again, like we've seen, I think companies a lot of times, number one, didn't do enough research and studies on these medications. And as we dig in these cases, we see they knew a lot more than they let on. And they put, again, profits of their company. These are billion-dollar drugs. All these drugs are billion-dollar drugs above safety of the clients. What we're looking for primarily here is individuals that have used these drugs, and they're given usually as an injection. Okay. It's not a pill that you take; it's an injection that you get, and the results are outstanding. In a lot of people, they lose a lot of weight, but they're causing problems primarily with our gastrointestinal, our GI system, and the primary condition we see is a paralysis of your digestive tract, for lack of a better word. The medical terminology is gastroparesis. It can be very, very severe. It can be lasting too, and a lot of our clients are hospitalized to help treat this condition. A very, very debilitating condition. So that's what we're looking for is individuals that have used the drug and have been diagnosed with gastroparesis. The litigation is moving along. It's in a very early stages. The litigation again here, like a lot of these, has been consolidated before a judge up in Pennsylvania, and cases have not yet been set for trial, but things are moving towards that now.
And Bill, so what is the next step in that? What do you see over the horizon?
Um, they're getting more and more into discovery now. We're learning more about what the companies knew and when they did it. That is the next big step. I believe then we will see cases selected for the initial trials, much like we saw and mentioned in our social media and video gaming discussion. But cases are selected by both sides and by the court to move forward with trial and litigation. Hopefully, come up with a way to resolve, if you will, the litigation down the road. So we're in the early stages of that now. Firms like our firm are still taking cases, individuals from all over the country. Again, people that have used these medications have been hospitalized or sought medical treatment for the injuries that I mentioned.
Well, Bill, is there anything else that we need to know or anything that I haven't asked you about in relation to the current and ongoing diet drug litigation?
I think we covered it. Again, it's fairly new, so things are developing. There may be other conditions come up that is associated with the drug. There was some uh, earlier litigation and about gallbladder disease and gallbladder problems. In many of the cases that we see, the companies often change or update their labels, the labels on their products. And they did that in mid 2022 with gallbladder disease. Uh, we look at there may be some science developing about pancreatitis and problems with the pancreas. So we're keeping an eye on that as the litigation moves along. Again, it's going to be a lengthy litigation. We're in the early stages, so we ask all of our clients to be patient. We will working on communications with our clients, town halls, where we can keep you updated on that. And of course, we are here to communicate with our clients in whatever manner is best for them.
Well, Bill, that's one of the things that we've enjoyed about working with you. You're always willing to get on the telephone with us. You're always willing to meet with us, talk with our clients, keep everybody updated. And so we certainly appreciate your friendship and what you do for us and our clients. And we look forward to continuing to work with you on cases in the future.
No, I appreciate that. We appreciate that here. We try to be available to our clients. I have a team, I have a team of other attorneys and, of course, paralegals and assistants that work with us on these cases. They do a great job. We can't do what we do without a great team, as you know, behind you working on these things. And we pride ourselves. Some firms you reach out to, and you've heard those stories, Aaron, with other firms where you can't get an answer from them. Our client can't talk to a lawyer, or can't even talk to an assistant, and we do try to be very, very diligent in talking with our clients. I mean, in this industry, there's a ton of firms out there that you can go to, and we just try to be that firm where you feel comfortable, and we thank you for selecting our firm. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bill, I can't thank you enough for being with us today on the Trials Podcast.
I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking with y'all more.
Absolutely, Bill. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Forrest, I really enjoyed our conversation with Bill. It's always great to learn about cases and the development of cases. One of the things that really struck me in relationship to the video game social media litigation is the similarities, at least from my perspective, around the social media video game litigation. And again, we're talking about children. The similarities between that and the tobacco litigation, and going forward more recently, the vape, the Juul and the vaping litigation, how similar those cases are.
Right. And I think the other thing, my takeaway is the impact that we as plaintiff attorneys can have, because without people like Bill and ourselves, a lot of times these things never come to light. Your congressperson's not looking out for you. And a lot of times it's the plaintiff's bar that finds, look, we've got a problem here. Our kids are being addicted to the social media. They're being addicted to video gaming, just like you mentioned, like with cigarettes. And it makes me proud of our profession that we have people like Bill who are working to affect a positive change and then bring this to the attention of the American public. So it's very rewarding.
Well, and Forrest, it's so easy to make fun of us.
Right.
A lot of times
Right.
we probably deserve it.
True.
And I laugh at all the jokes and enjoy the jokes. But the reality, it's so easy to say, well, the parents should be accountable.
Right.
The parents should.
Right.
But isn't the issue more complex than this is the parent's responsibility?
Right. A lot of times I look, as a parent myself, it's almost like you're standing on the beach in front of a tidal wave trying to stop everything that can harm your child. And, my kids are grown, but, I think parents are just facing more and more challenges today. And it's very difficult, I think, for most parents, to address all the things that your child is being exposed to. And then if you've got, corporations, again, they might not have intentionally set out to addict your child to a video game, but they start seeing profits. How do you drive those profits? Have that kid have that device in his or her hand for more hours a day. And then what we've seen through this litigation is that obsession with that video game or that social media then causes, emotional and physical problems to that child.
Well, and we go back to the tobacco, the vape, at the heart of that, nicotine, the nicotine addiction. And through that litigation, we learned a lot about the development of the child's brain.
Right.
And the fact that these companies know if they can get the child engaged and using that product,
Right.
and they've got a consumer for life.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can get it before the full development of the brain, it's easier to pull them in and keep them there.
Right.
So it isn't that very similar to what we're seeing with the video game, the social media
Right.
addiction. Kind of segueing over into the diet drug litigation that's ongoing now. The where Bill started off in the mass tort arena with the diet drug fen-phen.
Right.
Now here he is years later in the diet drug litigation that's ongoing now.
Right. Right. And, I think what we understand now is that some of these drugs, while they have remarkable success at treating diabetes, obesity, they can have certain drawbacks and serious side effects. And many times these side effects, what I took away is many times these aren't really warned about, when the drug first comes out, and really can cause, permanent injury to many people.
And the potential of, what has gone on in past pharmaceutical litigation is an issue around a drug being overprescribed.
Right, right. And I think sometimes, drug companies sell these drugs as, miracle drugs, and really encourage, off-label type uses and things like that without fully evaluating the potential risk. And again, that's where I think we can be proud of our profession, where it takes a lot of effort, time, expertise, money to investigate these claims like Ozempic. And again, I think it is a reason for us to be proud of our profession, because if it wasn't for attorneys like Bill, like ourselves, nobody would be standing up for these consumers.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the Trials Podcast. As attorneys, what we strive to do is to make people's lives better. We hopefully look out for the best interest of our clients. If you think you've been injured by a defective product or a defective drug, go to our website, look at our website to see what kind of cases that we handle. And, if you have more questions, please feel free to give us a call.